Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Last time I left off with the campaign in Sicily, showing a map of the overall campaign and the progress that everyone made. We're now on to the Allies lose a ship in the invasion of Sicily. July 11th, 1943. Going up in smoke. An Allied ship, part of a convoy carrying supplies to the invasion force at Gela, Sicily, explodes after a direct hit from a German plane just outside the harbor of this Sicilian town. The difficulties of maintaining supplies for the invading Americans and British troops was one of the major obstacles to this 6-week campaign. Fortunately for the Allies, complete control of the sea lanes was in their hands. The Italian Navy had long since ceased to be a factor, and the Mediterranean being patrolled by Allied warships exclusively, with the exception of a few Axis submarines. Yeah, the entire Mediterranean is just under their control. There isn't really much that the Axis can do at this point. The Italian Navy was a big force, but at this point it's just been knocked out, more or less reduced to a husk of what it was. So it doesn't really have a part to play in this. Death of an American fighting ship in the Sicilian invasion. July 11th, 1943. Farewell to an honored ship. A slight blur of flame marks the end of the LCI-1, a landing craft infantry, which had been honored by a presidential citation for the part she played in the Sicilian invasion. The ship went down during an Axis raid on Allied shipping in Sicilian waters. Over her burning hull was an arc of anti-aircraft fire, which is raised as though in homage to the ship and her men. So, see right here, there's a burning ship. There's all the anti-aircraft. Look at this. It looks like almost like modern art, where it's a lot of splotches on the thing, but you can see just the absolute gunfire there. It really shows how devastating and how much cover fire these Allied anti-aircraft guns had when they were all right next to each other. Kind of crazy. A stepping stone on the road to Italy and victory. July 12th, 1943. Sicilian Landing. Vari-sized American landing craft lined the shore at Scoglitti, Sicily, as Allied troops land on the island en route to Italy. The U.S. Army amphibious ducks and the Navy's LCI's landing craft infantry, LCM landing craft mechanized, and LCT's landing craft tanks, and LCVR's landing craft personal ramp. Join in the mammoth operation. Scoglitti, located on the southwest tip of Sicily, was one of the 10 towns captured that day, giving complete control on this section to the American troops. The capture of Scoglitti was a stepping stone to taking of the most important town of Agrento. I'm having a hard time pronouncing some of these names, as you could probably tell, but yeah, the just invasion force is huge. The amount of vehicles, men, supplies, everything that they bring to bear here is a really big precursor to the invasion on D-Day. Just how much stuff that the Allies will throw at the Atlantic Wall. But we're not there yet, but you can see the precursor to it right here in this war, or in this invasion specifically. American methods on a beachhead in Sicily. July 1943. Race against time in Sicily. Working coolly and methodically despite the constant danger of enemy attacks, U.S. troops build a road with steel matting over the sandy Sicilian shore during landing operations near Skogledi. Outlined against the far horizon, the ships of vast invasion armada hover like protecting floating fortresses, their guns ever ready to lay down a curtain of fire. These operations in the Skogledi sector were extremely important and served as preliminary moves for the occupation of the West Coast and final pincer movement in operation with the British Army on the East Coast. Yeah, you can see they've got ship there, a few landing ships here, ship there, ship there, ship there, ship there, ship there, and ship there, and maybe there. So, like they said, these ships are just ready to lay down covering fire on the enemy. They'd be pretty devastating. That's why the enemy probably didn't attack as much as they could have. They did not want to get just obliterated by these big guns. But yeah, rolling over makeshift roads is helpful so that you can, actually move your supplies on here. Because otherwise, these things are going to get bogged down in the sand, potentially, things like that. So you got to make sure that the craft that you have can actually even drive on land. Germans fortify Crete against British attacks. July 1943. German fears of invasion. The Allied victories in North Africa represented, in the words of Winston Churchill, an immediate threat to the soft underbelly of Europe. And the occupying Germans and Italian forces on the island of Crete reacted in characteristic fashion to the danger. A British commando raid on airfields and installations in Crete on the night of July 3rd to 4th was followed by savage reprisals against the civilian population, accused by the Germans of connivance in the raid. The picture, top left, gives some idea of the cold-bloodedness in which these barbarous atrocities were committed. Yeah, we can see them just taking their anger out on the civilians, which is just wrong. I mean, they're not military targets, but they're going to make them military targets. The other picture shows strong German-built fortifications and Axis-occupied Crete. So we can see here a basically bunker gun. It's basically just a tank gun put in a concrete bunker and that can rotate around. Heavily camouflaged so that any enemy coming may not see it from above or anything like that. It would be pretty effective. And we have a bigger version of it right here with this concrete gun. It's a huge bunker, and this is clearly after an attack by the enemy, or the British and allies in general. So, but yeah, you can see that these guns are going to be really effective in an attack on Crete. Germans launch a summer offensive in Russia. July 5th to 14th, 1943. Fresh German attack in Russia fails. On July 5th, an intensive enemy artillery and aerial bombardment broke the comparative lull, which had continued on the Russian front since the spring thaws, had brought large-scale operations to a standstill. Large German tank and infantry forces with strong air cover launched the expected enemy summer offensive on a 200-mile front in the Orel-Bielogorod sector. The battle that ensued developed into some of the bitterest fighting in the war, with both sides throwing masses of armor and infantry, but in spite of minor breaches of their positions here and there, made at enormous cost to the enemy, the Russians, by their stubborn resistance, completely neutralized the German attempt to repeat their mass drive to the east in the previous summer. By July 14th, the enemy attacks had dwindled and, indeed, the Germans had again been forced back to their original positions. The photograph shows the Red Army troops attacking an enemy strongpoint in a Russian village near Orel. And you can see these troops moving up. The enemy's positions are probably further ahead here, but they're doing their best to push on forward and kick the enemy out of their home. And they will do that, and they'll push the enemy all the way back to his capital home, which is going to be a big deal for him. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me what I could improve on. I always appreciate your feedback. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.